I actually got some requests and questions as to what the MMA Sim was, and I actually decided to do a video for it because it's 9:45. It's a little late to go out, or well, go out if no one else is out, and I don't know. I don't feel like, and it's too early to go to bed. There you go. Alright, so basically the point behind the MMA Sim is that it takes two fighters and it simulates how a fight would go between them. And sometimes you'll get a freak result, and sometimes you'll get kind of, you know, that 9 out of 10 times what happens fight. And like I said, it's over 70% on the MMA Playground, so it's pretty good. Anyways, I started off when I was in high school, a couple of buddies, and we started doing it. We fiddled around with it, trying to use Action Script, which if anyone's ever used that, you know that was not a good idea. Though it had graphics, and the current one doesn't, so I don't know, I guess it was better in some ways. And then I got off to college, and again, I recruited some people to do it again, this time in Java, and that's what the current one is written in. And it takes a bunch of stats like fighter boxing ability, fighter hand speed, punching power, overall strength, weight cutting ability, which is kind of key, cardio, what else is there? There's kick speed, kicking technique, kicking power, clinch ability is in there. There's also a bunch of things about ground ability, subs from the bottom, subs from the top, positions from the bottom, positions from the top, ground and pound ability, submission defense. There's heart and chin and physical toughness, which is more of a physical durability. For example, Josh Koscheck, when he took the beating from Thiago Alves, showed great physical durability and toughness. He did not necessarily show great chin, because he didn't really get tested that much. I mean, he got dropped, and the one time he did, I think he really got dropped. So it didn't exactly show well. That would be kind of the difference between the two. And then there's obviously, you can train at different camps. Now, the camps range in quality from a D camp to an A camp. When a fighter is first made, it will generally get a D or C camp that is in its area. So say I were to make a fighter that was based out of Denver, Colorado, they could possibly go to Alliance Jiu-Jitsu, which is really a D camp, because it doesn't have really any remote striking like coaching. It's strictly a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu camp, and though it's probably more of a C or a B level Jiu-Jitsu camp, its lack of other disciplines kind of keeps it down low. Now, I chose a fighter that everyone knows, and that's Byron on YouTube. And the link is in the sidebar if you don't know who he is, and you should check him out, or it's over there, isn't it? And he is very funny, and he knows his shit. But anyways, he has a fighter in the Sim. Now, I made his fighter initially, and basically it was kind of an unskilled fighter. But that being said, Byron is huge, so he had a considerable reach. He also had considerable strength, and he had decent conditioning. So he had a lot of good building blocks that would eventually lead to being a pretty good fighter. I put him with the Revolution Fight Camp, which is a high C, low B camp, where it taught him some basic boxing skills, and very basic. I mean, Revolution Fight Team fighters, if you ever watch them, their striking is very limited in terms of, they don't throw a lot of different things, but they emphasize hand speed and they emphasize boxing. So Byron inherited that somewhat, and his takedown defense also became somewhat decent. Then after that, he left and joined Matt Hume's AMC Pancration camp in the Sim. And from there, he learned a pretty nice clinch game, and generally everything just kind of went up. Matt Hume's a good striking teacher, a good wrestling teacher, and a good grappling teacher. So Byron's skills became greater in all areas, to the point where, although he's not elite on the ground, he can handle himself on the ground. He's not an elite striker, but he's a good striker. He's also very dominant in the clinch, although that has a lot to do with physical abilities and size and strength. So basically, he kind of started as Tim Sylvia, and but is a much more developed version of Tim Sylvia now, though. Although Tim Sylvia versus Byron, that would be that's an interesting fight. Should look into that. Sorry. Okay. So, and again, why this came up is people were asking after I did the TCA announcement at the end of the Tough Overview video, which if you haven't watched, watch it. And it said I'm going to start a team championship thing, and it's basically what it'll be is you will pick your team, and it could, hell, if you get incredibly lucky, you can consist of Miguel Torres, Kid Yamamoto, BJ Penn, GSP, Anderson Silva. Wow, there really isn't a number 1 205er, is there? There really isn't. And Fedor Emelianenko. That would be a pretty awesome team. Highly unlikely to get it, but there will be a draft, and you pick fighters as they come, and based on where you think they fit in the rankings, what you think you need, how, you know, even things like how they match up with who else is being picked comes into play. You could possibly go with some kind of a stunner pick, almost a guy who people maybe kind of overlook because he's not that good overall, but his style kind of fits against the guys you're looking to beat. So that basically underlines it, and it'll be basically best out of 7. Someone did ask if there will be a female division, and maybe, but it's not really enough good female fighters to make them. There's basically Carano, Christiane Cyborg, Taylor Rosa. I guess Karita Dawn kind of counts now. Megumi Fuji. Somewhat Gina Carano, Amanda Buckner. Shayna Baszler, I guess, is still there. I guess there's a couple others. That's kind of about it. And a Canadian named Sarah Kaufman is looking pretty good, although very untested. And it'll match up the fights and have it go. And at the end of the season, I'm not sure. It depends on how many teams I have. I'm looking at kind of maybe 14 teams because there's 7 weight classes, and 7 times 2 is 14, and maybe the top 4 or 8 make the playoffs. So that's my theory on that. So anyways, any more questions, post them, do whatever, but I hope that explains what I'm talking about. Anyways, peace.